Hey, all my fantasy football friends out there. Welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty Football channel here on YouTube. This is Stash X, Tony, coming at you with our Week 5 check-in here, man. We got a great show lined up to you today. I'm so fired up for it. We're going to be doing our buys and sells, of course. We're going to be going through all the weekly matchups, telling you who to start, who to sit, talking you through all the decisions that can be made on every single game. That's what we're here to do. But man, we're 5 weeks in. There's already a quarter down, man. Thinking back to like school days, you'd already be getting a report card right now on the season. So that's pretty wild. Being a
Uh,
quarter in, yeah,
yeah, your partner here is a high school teacher, and my report card is due on Monday. My
yeah,
grade books are due on Monday, so
yeah.
yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah, it's of course this is my partner Greg the Velociraptor, always joining in. Greg and I are going to be chopping it up today. Thank you for joining us, for spending your valuable time with us here on the channel. Yeah, so you're probably watching this on Saturday. We're recording on Friday. We had a Thursday night game last week. DJ Moore went nuts, all that good stuff. You've heard plenty about it, but yeah, What's the first hit today, man? I don't have my notes out right now.
Well, let's take a quick look in at the quarter poll here at our League of Record,
Yeah, there
our
you go.
Multiple First Dynasty Football League of Record. Shout out to all of our players there. Um, so where are we at? I am the last remaining unbeaten team at 4-0, and that is coming to an end this week. As I am without two quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've got my Jalen Hurts, but this is Justin Herbert bye week. That pay up for quarterback uh, strategy seems to be paying out decently. But now I got Herbert on bye. I got Josh Kelly, Rashad White on bye. I've got a number of key injuries, and I am going to struggle, I think, to fill a whole lineup. I'm playing Jalen Warren instead of a quarterback, so I think, and I'm facing Justin Fields. So it's a thing. So that makes this whole league wide open and very competitive. Everybody's going to have a loss after this week.
You look good though, man. I really like that Laporta in the tight end too. That's looking great, and just the whole lineup's looking sweet, man. You look very competitive. I like your lineup better than mine, I think, right now. So you're looking good there.
Yeah, I got to 4-0 with Alvin Kamara as my best running back, so I think
Yeah,
that is
he
nice.
pops back in there and can pick up
Right.
the slack. Yeah, the
Uh,
Herbert buy sucks though. That's been rough.
yeah.
But
Fantasy Football Nomad has been kind of killing it with so I went with the heavy quarterback build, and I thought his build of Sam Howell, Ryan Tannehill, and Junk was a real gamble, but that Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Adams, Mark Andrews build is serving him well, and he found the Kyron Williams golden ticket. So, he's in real position to contend as well. You have any other observations from around?
24th round on Kyron Williams looks pretty good. That's awesome. Yeah,
Oh, it
Nomad's a
sure
beast.
does.
I watched him go undefeated championship run in a league last year. He's good. He knows what he's doing. He is a sharp. You call those guys sharps in the industry, but he's a good player for sure. Yeah, man. Let's take a look at how Stosh is doing. I'm 1-3 right now. That's kind of baloney. We got C.J. Stroud though, so that's just got me fired up for the future. We got Achan, we got Chris Olave, some other guys. I got like nothing at tight end though. I got Ferguson and just a pile of beans right now. Fortunately, Dak's been underwhelming. I feel like I don't really have championship hopes here, but I'm 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 happy with my team. I guess I don't know. Not
Where are
not
you
excited
sitting?
about it though.
Where are you sitting in the standings
I'm
here?
ninth. I got the most points scored against me. I got the poo poo sign.
Oh, that's yeah. No. That's that. I have the least points scored against me.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
um, yeah, no, you're in a rough position. There are 5 teams that are 1-3, right? So you're only a game out of the playoffs, but there are a lot of teams out there competing. You're probably in a rough position to try to even go for Caleb because there are some teams out there that are
Yeah.
really struggling.
we're just gonna try to stay wide, and we're not gonna give up on the season. I'm not trying to unload players at 1-3. I've got more points scored than a few of the teams ahead of me in the standings, so we're just gonna stay focused and not tilt, and just be happy with our young dudes, and maybe send out some flyer offers, some random things, just to one way or the other. It doesn't whether they're mover in moves or mover out from the season, but there's a lot of promise here. And all you got to do is get hot late. I mean, there's no reason why Debo or like Metcalf can't just pop off in the playoffs. And Achane showed what kind of upside he has, so we like that. But the other guy I want to take a look at is Cole World down here, who's also at 1-3. This guy's only got 30 points less than me on the season. He's doing really well. He's got a little productive struggle build going on here. Russ Wilson, Gino, Garoppolo, Carr, like value running backs like Connor, Herbert, Montgomery. These guys were good values and during the draft. A lot of young receivers, and then he's just loaded. You got JSN loaded with picks, 4 firsts, 4 seconds. Really like what Cole's doing here. He's got probably the same odds as I do to make the playoffs, and he's sitting on an absolute treasure trove of picks there. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So one thing I wanted to I want to notice that's interesting is we don't have anybody who is like open tanking yet with Caleb Williams out there, but with 5 teams at 1-3, I wonder if somebody starts to look at that, especially if you're 1-3 and like in a bye week hell. So I think this is why we do a league of record, to sort of examine it at different points through the season and bring tips that you can take to your league. Like, this is the time, if you are a contender, to look at the bottom of your league and see who needs to do that. See who needs to like make a break for Caleb Williams, right? And you be there to take advantage, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So this is when your 3-1 team wants to identify the team that's about to start tanking and start throwing out some offers before the market heats up for those kinds of assets, right? And beat your contending rivals to them.
It's tough because we already had a lot of pick consolidation in this league. There's like I have 2 first next year. Cole's got the 4. That's 7 of them, and then I think one team has 3 first round picks. I forget who it is. So that's like the majority. You know what I mean? There's a lot of value to being first to market in what you're saying and being the tank, but like there's most of the picks have been acquired. It's going to be challenging to really. I mean, you can always do it via players, but like it's going to be challenging to really position yourself long term with the way things have already
Well,
fallen.
I'm really thinking the other way. I'm thinking
Yeah.
if you are the contending team
Mhm.
in your league, now is the time to figure out who might want to tank
Yeah.
and like be proactively making offers on their obvious sell players.
Yeah, that's actually really
Right.
good advice. I've done that a few times. I've
Right.
literally just DM people. Are you selling? Are you out yet?
Yes.
That are like 0-4 or 1-3. Yeah.
Right, especially look at the 1-3 teams and look at their matchup.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you're 1-3, and look at where you're heading. It is time for you to make a decision. Here, let me make that decision easy for you, and then make them like a 75 cents on the dollar offer, and see
Yep.
what you can do.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway, I think that's an important thing to look at this time of year.
That's a good check into our league record here. We're going to move on. We want to move into our buy high, sell low, one of our favorite segments that we do here. Pretty unique segment. Buy high and sell low. We're buying players who are ascending, selling players who are descending, rather than all the buy low crap that you hear about nonstop. So who's actually trending and who can you ride a wave with? That's what me and Greg are here to help you out. We're going to recap some of our ones, specifically from last week. Oh no, I'm spoiling it. But my buy high last week was Marvin Mims for the Broncos. He was wide receiver 36 on KTC when we checked in. He's gone down. He's wide receiver 42 now. So he's, he was ascending, and now he's kind of, turned that corner. But I still think he's a buy at wide receiver 42. He's got a lot of upside. Just keep poking his owner and see what you can do to get him or get him thrown into a trade.
I agree. I think there are. Like, could you get Marvin Mims in a second for Quentin Johnston right now? I don't like those are the kinds of like.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm
interesting.
trying
Yeah.
to poke around Marvin Mims. I think he has flashed superstar upside. Not that he'll necessarily get there, right? But he's got the chance to just be great.
I was offered
And-
Marvin Mims and Achane for Jackson Smith and Jigba in a league, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. So like, I don't know. I ended up declining it and holding JSN, but like, you could definitely see that being valuable the other way. Achane's definitely probably maybe the most valuable asset in that deal. Probably is like, in the current market.
In the current market,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's still a buy. And your sell last week was Bryce
Yo,
Young.
my sell was Bryce Young, who was QB 12 when we checked in, trending downward. He's QB 15 now. Bryce Young, first overall pick, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, he's the kid can play ball, man. Like, I'm not trying to say he's like a bad football player or anything to get rid of him. I just don't know that the upside is there. Like, what's the ceiling that Bryce Young can ever even really hit, given his physical limitations and also just the trash that is the Carolina Panthers right now. He's hit quarterback 15. I think he keeps going down to about 20. As I look at the names that are below him, you see like Jared Goff and Dak Prescott and a few of these other guys that are ascending who, I don't know, not that Dak's ascending, but guys that could easily leapfrog him. I would get out of Bryce Young if you could and just find something else here.
Yeah, I don't mind going sideways.
Mm.
I don't mind going sideways. I do think we're likely to see some stabilization in his price at some point. And it might even be not till off season
Yeah.
that he's back to this kind of range. But I think the stability that he has is going to give him um, some value stability if he's
There's insulation with the draft capital and
yeah.
stuff, but like the ceiling doesn't seem to be there, and his he's gonna trend downward and then plateau as like a seventh
I,
round pick or something. I don't
I don't I don't I don't think that's where he'll be in April.
know. I won't be drafting him much higher than that. I can tell you that
Okay.
because I'm concerned with it. Yeah, who are you buying and selling last week, sir?
Last week I bought Alvin Kamara
Yeah.
at running back 28. He had an RB1 week with double-digit catches. It wasn't very productive despite the number of catches, but you see the role in the offense. He's up to running back 24 now. I'm continue buying on win now rosters is my thought here. And then my sell last week was Kenny Pickett. He was quarterback 17 in the preseason, down to 21 last week, and 96 overall. Now he's down to quarterback 23 and 117 overall, and I remain very skeptical of his outlook going forward. I'm not convinced that Mitch Trubisky can't take this job back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's looked terrible, man. He's looked, and it's not just that he's looked bad. To me, he's looked bad every week, right? Like you look at some of these guys. I still think Mac Jones looked awful last week, but we've seen Mac Jones look better. I don't think we've ever really seen Kenny Pickett look okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very sketchy with Kenny Pickett.
The offensive line's so bad there. It's just such a challenge to expect anything from him. You know what I mean? I'm with you on the sell. I think it's a good pick. Yeah.
What are you doing this week?
Yo, this week we're buying high and we're selling low. My buy high this week is Mr. Hollywood Brown, the wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. I'm sorry, the Arizona Cardinals. Still got guy Bryce Young on my mind, but Hollywood Marquise Brown is currently the wide receiver 34 on Keep Trade Cut rankings. It's up from wide receiver 40. I can't believe he even got that low. This seems like such low-hanging fruit for a buy. He's wide receiver 19 on the season. He's only 26 years old. He's a former first-round pick. He's got incredible speed. He has almost no target competition on the team. I mean, Ertz and Michael Wilson, whatever. 32 targets in 4 weeks. We love to see that. He's averaging almost 11 and a half yards per catch. That's awesome. That's really, really good. Josh Dobbs.
If he's going to be good, going to be good with Josh Dobbs, then he's going to be good with anybody.
Yeah, any elite quarterback they get in the future. It's just there's nothing not to like here with Hollywood, especially when you talk about relative to his price. I think he's a wide receiver 2 for probably the rest of the year. Excuse me, and you could probably get him for equivalent less than a 24
second
first.
And a third.
Yeah, 2 seconds. I mean, he's not that expensive, and you can go acquire him and get a lot of points for your roster with upside too. Like a wide receiver 2 consistently, and then definitely could have pop weeks for sure of just like 2 touchdown weeks with 9 for 100. Like that
could even have a pop second half if Kyler comes back and gives you like, oh look, there's 8 games of vintage Kyler, and Hollywood Brown's is number 1. Yep. Like he could be a wide receiver 1 over the last 8 games of the season in the range of outcomes.
Hollywood Brown's great. There was another I wanted to do two this week almost, but I just want to throw a name out there. Romeo Dobbs is also a really nice high buying on an ascending player right now. So just throwing that out there as a name to look for. But
So
yeah,
I'm not going to let you just throw that out there.
all right,
I disagree so much.
really,
I think he is like, yeah, I think Christian Watson's a better player, and I think Reed is going to supplant him at some point. So like, if you're able to get out for he's the wide receiver one there prices, I think just run, don't walk to the exit.
yeah, for that, sure. I
That's
mean,
like that's not a wide receiver one, but like he's for if somebody in your league believes that he is going to supplant Christian Watson because Christian Watson's had a hamstring injury, run, don't walk to the exit. That's my take on Romeo Dobbs.
okay.
You and I love that we have a stark disagreement.
It's good, yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that I changed my buy high in the document? I put one in and then changed it.
No, I didn't. I only see what you got in there.
I put Hollywood Brown in there and then I took it out.
Oh, okay.
So I love the Hollywood Brown pick.
I really wanted your sell, but you already took it. So
I had Hollywood. I was the first person to the document. I put Hollywood Brown in as the buy high, and then like 2 hours later, I was like, you know what? I have to be a little more topical here. So let me give you my buy high, the one I swapped out for Hollywood. I think your buy high of the week is Jonathan Taylor. He's the running back 7, up from running back 11. He's the overall player 22, up from 45. But guys, he's going to be the running back 3 or 4 in a month. Like, just go buy him.
Do you expect him to play this week? I mean, I don't know. We'll get into that later, I guess.
I don't know if he's back in week 4 or week 5. Mm-hmm. But like, he's going to come back. He's going to play for a contract. He really is. The offense is good. I trust Shane Steichen. I like all of the worries that we had a month ago that the offense wouldn't be good are gone. That like the quarterback would be the problem, or that the scheme wouldn't. No, this is going to be a good offense. Pittman can play. Downs can play. Pierce has a role. They've got tight end talent. Their offensive line is good. Richardson's a nightmare if called right, and Steichen's calling his game right. Jonathan Taylor's going to smash this thing, man. He could be the running back 2 rest of season, or like from when he comes back to the end of the season. Yeah. There's no way he's not going to move up from running back 7 if he plays and is healthy.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, JT's great. I'm so happy to be able to plug him back into my lineups. It's a pretty safe buy for this week. All right, I'm going to stick at the running back position with my sell, and I expect to get some pushback on this because it's a kind of a hot take. I don't know, but my sell right now, selling low, is on Jahmyr Gibbs, the current running back 5 in Dynasty football on Keep Trade Cut. The RB5, like that is why he's a sell for me because he's down from RB3 from 2 weeks ago, and that is just obscenely overvalued for this guy. I don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying to sell low on him. Just take what you can get. That's not it. This guy's probably has a tremendously bright future ahead of him, and as his value levels back out, he probably becomes a buy for me again at some point. But right now, Jahmyr Gibbs, 18 targets on the season. That's tied for 7th among RBs, so that's awesome too. But like, he's getting no carries inside the 10. He's only got 4. David Montgomery's has 11. His yards per catch is about 5 on the season right now. Not breaking off the long runs, the long receptions. His carry count out of the backfield in the season is low. I just, you can get out of Jahmyr Gibbs and get like a 24 first and second and a running back, like a Pacheco or something right now. And I would rather have that than Gibbs on my Dynasty roster. I would rather have all those assets that can grow, plus probably a more productive player moving forward. And I would explore that, and someone may give you that. Yeah, I mean, you could just look at the rest of the people ranked around Gibbs and see that he's overvalued. Like it's completely overbought into his RB or his number 12 overall pick capital. I'm selling Gibbs at his current price.
I don't hate it. I think the usage is not great.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I think that has gone a little overlooked in the Gibbs negativity is when Montgomery missed a game, they gave him 20 touches. Mm-hmm. Which is not what they were doing with DeAndre Swift. right?
Mm,
Like with DeAndre Swift, if the other guy missed a game, like remember we expected Craig Reynolds to get a bunch of touches and he didn't.
yeah.
Like still consider that to be favorable. Like I think the upside is there. It's just like less likely. Right, I still think there's a chance for him to take over that backfield and do all the stuff, but I agree with you. You look at some of the guys around him, like you can get ETN and stuff for him.
I think you might be able to get ETN at a first from a manager who's not paying close enough attention. I mean, it's you can
I
sell Gibbs for a lot, and
yeah,
if I'm owning him, I would be exploring that. Go get a Jordan Addison and a pick maybe. Like that's so good. The returns on that are just too good to ignore.
Jonathan Taylor and a second for third swap.
Yeah, I mean, the Taylor owner might do that. I mean, I'm a Taylor owner, and I may do that because I don't know what to expect from him coming off this injury. It's kind of scary there,
Yeah,
uncertain.
so
Yeah.
like that's yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, just the team doesn't need him to win is another point I wanted to make too. Like he just they've been fine. Not getting a lot from him. They've been fine. So it's hard to see him producing a lot moving forward, barring like injuries and stuff. All right, who are you
I
selling,
agree
Broski?
with that.
Yeah.
So I am selling low on T Higgins, who is currently at the wide receiver 16, down from wide receiver 11 in the preseason. We've got
Hmm.
some broken ribs. And I'll make it short and sweet here. I don't think this is going to be a good year in Cincinnati, and I don't think he's going to be in Cincinnati next year. And if I can get like all of wide receiver 16 prices out, like there are people in that neighborhood who I'll go swap to, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's the pay up to go get Olave? What's the or you know
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what's the pay up to go get Garrett Wilson? You know what I mean?
Would you swap T Higgins straight across for DK Metcalf? Their ADPs are about the same entering the
I
season.
might.
Yeah, I mean that's probably about what you're
I
looking at. Yeah.
consider it.
Hmm.
It would um depend a little bit on how contendy I am. That's not exactly where I want to go with this.
Yeah.
I really like tearing down to Jordan Addison and stuff, or like
Zay
you can go
Flowers
across to
and
Zay Flowers.
picks.
Like
Yeah.
I think Zay Flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might not get picks with you might not get much of a pick with Zay Flowers, but yeah, like if I could get Zay Flowers in a second, I'm out right
Yeah, I
now.
love that. That's a good trade, yeah, for you.
Uh,
That's a good sell for Higgins.
if I had to throw in a third, that I would do that, right? Like, if I were contending, I might go straight across. Like if I needed it, like if I were contending and I needed the starts right now.
Yeah, man, I feel it. I'm trying to sell Higgins in a few leagues too. It's a good time to exit this. Things are looking rough for Cincy. I don't expect the Bengals to rebound very much from this. This might be a lost season for them as a whole. Yeah, but yeah, let's get into our weekly breakdown. We are cruising along here. We're going to take you through every single one of the games this week and discuss the fantasy options in all of them, the fantasy landscape, the fantasy matchups. Yeah, so we're going to get into that. And the first note is the weather is going to be really good across the league with some light rain in Pittsburgh and New England. Those two games, the Steelers game and the Patriots game, expect a little bit of rain, but otherwise awesome weather. Um, First one up here is our London rewind replay. Jacksonville Jaguars are playing another game in London against the Buffalo Bills. 49-point over under. Um, Buffalo side of this thing, you start Josh Allen, you start Stephon Diggs, you start James Cook, all must starts in your lineup. I'm not playing either tight end, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. They are just both useless for fantasy right now. And a big discussion here, or any discussion in this game, I think, is on Gabe Davis, the Buffalo Bills wide receiver 2. Davis right now through 4 games is a stat line of 18 targets, 12 receptions, 220 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So that's really scary because he's averaging less than 5 targets a game, which stinks, but he's got all these touchdowns, which are buoying him. He's currently the wide receiver 29. I'm starting him in several leagues this week. He's a wide receiver 2 for me. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think he's an easy start to me in a high over under game.
Hmm.
That's my take here.
Yeah, that's why I'm playing him too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do we think about some of the other running back pieces in Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean Murray and Harris, Latavius Murray and Damian Harris, they're only getting like 5 or 6 touches a game, each of them. They each have a couple. They each have 6 red zone carries this season, so I guess they're startable if you're like a zero RB type. But I'm out on both of those pieces. I'm really trying not to play either of those guys.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Buffalo side of this. Jacksonville side, you're starting Trevor Lawrence, you're starting Travis Etienne, you're starting Evan Ingram. 3 must starts there. Zay Jones is returning this week. Where you at with the Jaguars wide receivers?
I I think they all have their place. I see. The thing is, I hate this matchup.
Hmm.
Um, although you know what's interesting, I wonder how much of an advantage. Like I think they're one of the things that is possible, right? Is that the Jaguars have a huge advantage by getting to stay in London 2 weeks.
Yeah, it could be. Yes,
I think this is a possibility. I kind of want to play some Christian Kirk. I am playing Christian Kirk where I have him.
same.
Um, but I think you can play all of them, and I think they definitely won't all be good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
but you can throw a dart at all of them, because good plays are bad every week, right? So,
Kirk's the only one who seems to have some floor. The other two are sketchy, but
well, remember
yeah.
Kirk's week one floor, right? Kirk's floor was
Yeah.
was a goose the 1 week they played.
Mhm.
So I like you're just throwing darts. I don't know, man. It's hard to know.
Yeah, next one up, we got the Houston Texans at the Atlanta Falcons. That's Houston in Atlanta. 41.5 point over under, so lower end over under here. On the Atlanta side, the only Falcons player who's a must start right now in fantasy football is Bijan Robinson.
Yeah,
We love him. Houston is a top 3 defense against the fantasy wide receiver, so I'm not playing any Falcons pass catchers. I'm not playing Kyle Pitts. I'm not playing Jonnu Smith either.
nope.
And I'm certainly not playing Desmond Ritter. I don't think you can start any of the pass catchers here until a change at quarterback is made, or until Ritter puts something out there that suggests that he could support them. You're just asking for punishment, putting Pitts or London out. Um, yeah,
Man, I have to play both of them in spots. Like,
you
I mean, like in your two tight end leagues, you don't have to.
you got to
You,
run Kyle Pitts out there.
you
Yeah.
got to run Kyle Pitts out there, and all of those. Um, and then in these 3 wide receiver and 2 flex leagues, like Drake London has scored in 2 of 4 games and been playable. I just think you sort of have to in some spots. Um,
With
but
what you
you
paid to
don't
get
feel
these
good
guys,
about
you have to play them. But some of the takeaways here, and this goes for like all the games we're talking about, is when we're saying don't you can't play someone, but they're in your lineup anyway. Well, I guess what we mean to say is like if you have several of these players, you're not really competitive, and you may want to think about making a trade or a move. That's a takeaway.
No, see, I don't,
Yeah,
man, I strongly disagree with that. I
really.
think we're talking about how deep is your league.
Yeah,
I think we're talking about differences between your start nines and your start tens, right? Like I think it's hard to get away from Drake London and start 10.
yeah,
Like, and you could be the 4th best team in the league and have Drake London in your start tens, and
totally.
it's totally fine.
Mm.
Like if he's your wide receiver 4, you wanted him to be your wide receiver 2, but he's not, right? But if you found Puka and now he's your wide receiver 4 here, you're fine,
Yep.
right? So like he, you know, adjust your expectations from what they were preseason, but like I still think Drake London is a playable wide receiver 4.
He is. The talent's there. The snaps are there. He gets targets. It's just there's such little upside, and there's just you know.
There's no
Try
yeah.
to sit him if you can. I mean,
There's
if you have
no
a
there's
reasonable
no
matchup,
8
yeah.
for 110 coming, right?
No.
There's no 8 for 110, but like 6 for 60 and a touchdown,
Yeah.
4 for 60 and a touchdown. That's going to happen a bunch of times, I think.
We playing Algier this week?
No.
No Algier, please. Yeah, Bijan's just too good. He's not even coming off the field. It's crazy.
Yeah. How do you feel? How bad do you feel about Desmond Ritter?
Yeah, I would play flex options over him. He's outside the top 25 at quarterback. He's outside the top 25 at quarterback with 4 teams on bye. So there's like I would play like I don't know, maybe Justice Hill over Ritter potentially. I don't know. Like there's flex guys that I would play over him and that I probably have rostered and can do that. Houston side of this thing, must starts. CJ Stroud's a must start. I think even in single QB. Nico Collins is a must start at wide receiver. Damian Pierce is a discussion piece here. For me, he's maybe not a must start, but he's definitely a decent RB2 with a 20 touches so far each season. And
Yes.
I'm just going to keep chasing Stroud, picking this guy up because this offense will click, and maybe Pierce has a big touchdown game. I like that.
Yeah, I think Pierce is a must start. I think Pierce is a must start in again, like, this is a dynasty show, right? Which
Yeah.
like I'm thinking of start tens, right? Like you can't get away
No, he's out there.
from Damian Pierce in a start 10. You can't get away from Tank Dell in these leagues. For me, he's a must start.
Oh yeah, take that. Definitely a
Um,
start.
I'm trying to get away from Robert Woods. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get away from Dalton Schultz.
Yeah,
Uh,
they've both been useless, and they're both trending downward pretty badly.
Absolutely. I just also want to throw something else out there. They have been narrowing their backfield usage. Mike Boone went away. Several like this is Pierce and Singletary, and so like I think Singletary has some cheap like late season upside. Like running backs get hurt, right?
Mhm.
Like I think Singletary for very cheap has some real upside. Just throwing that out there.
And Damian runs really violently, so he totally could get hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, moving on. We got NFC matchups here. We got the Carolina Panthers at the Detroit Lions. We got a 45-point over-under here. Looking pretty juicy matchups. A lot of fantasy starts in this game. Detroit side, we're starting Jared Goff every time. David Montgomery's a must start. And Sam Laporta is currently the number one tight end in fantasy football, I think. Let me double check that. No, he's number three,
No.
but he's up there. um, Amon-Ra St. Brown creeped up on the injury report here. He is doubtful. I don't expect him to play. This coincides with the return of Jamison Williams. Um, yeah, so I wouldn't play Amon-Ra if he's active for the most part. I mean, it would bump him down to like a wide receiver 3 type for me. I don't like playing guys that are that hurt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, right? I also don't want to play Jared Goff, if to be honest, right here.
really.
Like
Yeah.
I think with Amon Ra doubtful, like I don't feel great about Jared Goff. Um, so that's my like I have a Goff or Stroud spot where I'm definitely going CJ Stroud.
Oh yeah.
But I wouldn't normally when Goff's at home. That's like a quarterback 2 choice for me.
Mhm.
And like to me, home Goff is the play, and then if Goff's on the road, you play Stroud. That's like how I've been playing this. But with Amon Ra out, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's fair to do that. Is Jameson or Reynolds, are they startable with or without
Nope,
Monra? Anything? Yeah,
not for
I wouldn't
me.
play either of them if I could avoid it.
Nope.
With an inactive Amon-Ra, I mean, you could play them as a wide receiver 3. You could that's
I
it's
think
a
that's more.
justifiable
Yeah.
dart. At least in Jameson with the upside, but I don't think you should play either of them. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean Jameson Williams can make his week with a play.
Yeah,
That's
but
like
I wouldn't chase that.
it's there, but
Mm.
no, I don't feel good about that, man. I want out of the Jameson business until I see his usage. That's my take. Like I would have to be very desperate or like way behind if I'm a 40-point underdog in one of these winner scores 180 leagues, right?
Yeah,
Then maybe I'm playing Jameson, hope he catches 2, and hope for the ceiling of ceilings, right?
for sure.
But I really, really, really think he only runs 10 routes, gets 1 target, and gooses is like super possible
Oh
here.
yeah.
So I want out of that business.
Jameer Gibbs is an RB3 for me this week. You probably start him in his start 10, but I would definitely consider other options. There's an easy way he's just game stripped completely out of this here. But he could also be very productive. I mean, probably one or two of these Lions players is going to blow up because it could happen.
Yeah, it could be Gibbs and Laporta get a lot of pass catching.
Yeah,
That
totally
could be a
could.
thing
Yep.
we see. I don't have teams where I can bench Gibbs. Where I have
One.
Gibbs, I have to play him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Carolina side of this thing, you're starting Adam Thielen. He's the only must start for the Panthers.
sure.
Is Adam Thielen, and I love that. I don't like any of the Panthers on the road here against this Detroit defense. I think they're going to get rocked. Yeah, Sanders is a low in RB2. He's seeing a lot of targets. He's the top
Yeah.
3 in targets. you probably start him, like I said,
Yeah,
RB2,
exactly.
but there's definitely easy to have options that are better. Chuba's not playable yet, but he continues to eat into this workload. Jonathan Mingo is going to play. He's dealing with concussion, and I don't think he's a play. I don't think he's startable even in a 10 start 10 for the most part.
No, no.
Hayden Hurst is a terrible tight end option. Please don't do that to yourself. And Bryce Young is probably one tick ahead of Desmond Ritter. I'd prefer to start
Yes.
flex options over him.
Yes. I agree with all of that. It's hard to, yeah. Even if you have two running backs better than Miles Sanders, you probably don't have two running backs and like five wide
Five receivers, yeah.
to go ahead of your flex, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably, I think you can feel very comfortable with him in your flex. If he's your running back 2, then you're feeling sketched.
Yeah. Let's check.
Let's move on to Titans at Colts. You're starting Richardson and Pittman for the Colts, and you were starting whichever running back starts. If that's Zach Moss, you're starting Zach Moss. If that's Taylor, you're starting Taylor for sure, 100% of the time. Don't mess with it. You don't need to wait and see what Taylor does. You're playing both. You're playing the starting running back for the Indianapolis Colts.
Definitely.
You mentioned several weeks ago that you liked Kylan Granson, and now we've got him here still starting. You like him as an upside play here?
Yeah, he's interesting. I mean, he's like tight end like 16, 14 on the week for me in that range. So I like him more than he's one of the better streaming options.
Have we heard anything about Jelani Woods coming back off of IR?
I haven't even looked. Is he coming off?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Hamstring won't be activated for week 5, so it sounds like they are thinking about activating him soon, but not yet. Yeah.
There we go. Right. So for now, I think you can still ride Granson as a high-end tight end too. They do seem to have him in the narrow part of the target distribution. The other thing I think here is you can play Josh Downs in your full PPR leagues, as your flex 2. I think he's been getting some volume, and the Titans are a really gettable pass defense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the Titans, the only must start on that side is Derrick Henry. He's definitely a must start in fantasy football. Treylon Burks is not going to play. DeAndre Hopkins is a wide receiver 2 or 3 for me this week. I don't have high expectations, but I think you're playing him. You're out on Hopkins though.
God, I mean, you might have to, but gosh, I expect nothing. I expect absolutely nothing from anybody on this team. I just, they're so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they can run the football and they are gritty, but I don't know, man. He looks so washed up to me. It's alarming to me how bad he looks.
He's getting a decent target share though, isn't he?
He is.
So, that's what keeps him in that wide receiver 3 category, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But gosh, guys, sell him for a bag of chips. Let me put it this way: if you could get Tutu Atwell and a pair of 3s, and just plug Tutu Atwell in that spot, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And get some capital or something, right? Get somebody who looks like a very short-term asset and a pick because somebody thinks Hopkins has 3 years left. My God, this guy is so washed up to me.
The Colts are one of the worst teams in the league against the tight end, so I think Chig is this crazy super deep tight end dart thing that you could potentially play. I'm not, but if you just want upside, then Chig's got the most upside of the streaming tight ends. And Tajay Spears is not a viable fantasy asset yet. New York Giants at the Miami Dolphins. Oh boy, this one could be a bloodbath. Miami Dolphins have 5 easy starts. It's Tua, it's Tyreek Hill, it's Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, Devon A-Chain. You play those 5 guys. That's it. Durham Smythe could be a tight end 2 for you if you want. I don't really like him as a streaming option that much. Dolphins brought in someone. They brought in Chase Claypool earlier today.
They're gonna fix him, right? They're gonna immediately fix. This is what I feel is he's going to very quickly be
He's either better or cut really fast. Yeah,
He's going to very quickly be the wide receiver 3 and fall in line and be a freak who they can't, like, you have to go man cover him and he'll run 9 routes and they'll throw him the ball, and it's like he's going to be a best ball darling. I don't know, man. I just feel like yeah, he could go. He could just be so bad, but this feels like all head stuff, and not play stuff.
sure.
And
Attitude things. Yeah.
I feel like he's just going to go down there, and he's going to recognize that he's the 3, and that he's. This feels like a really good move for Miami to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I have surprisingly high expectations for a player who I was done with.
if I'm Mike McDaniel, I mean, first thing I'm going to do with Chase is kind of read him back his quote about being a top 5 receiver, and then I'm going to introduce him to Waddle and Hill and say these are what top 5 receivers are in the NFL. So here you go. Like, can you go emulate these guys and be like them and work like they do? Because this is what it is. You know what I mean? And just give him the most reality right in his face that I possibly could. But I I think you're a little more bullish on him than I am. I don't know. Like, what are the odds he does hit that wide receiver 3 role? Not that he's relevant or anything, but just that he does earn that kind of snap share as a Dolphin.
I don't know. I feel really I feel really high on that probability. I think he
You
just
think so? Yeah.
not like this week, right? But
Like,
yes.
yeah. Like, they have
Yes,
a week 10 bye, so like by the bye or something.
no,
Or coming out of it, maybe.
by 10 days from now.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I think he's on the field in 3 wide receiver sets in week 6. Um man, he's you're not going to be able to do anything but man him. Like, if he's running 9 routes, and you have got to deal with A Chain and Tyreek and Waddle, like, the only thing you're going to
Like
be able
Madden.
to
Yeah.
do, yeah, it's exactly. It's the
Just running
perfect spot.
deep verticals every time.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! And then they can work off of that into a more complex route tree.
Yeah.
But he's such a monster with that stuff that, like, making teams deal with just those 9 routes while everybody else is doing everything else is just going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's my take.
if you've been squatting on Claypool for the last year or longer, that he's been completely useless, you got to be happy to see this. It's definitely good for him. Change of scenery is just best. Get away from Chicago. But
Are you desperately trying to sell it?
sell Claypool?
Yeah. Are you desperately trying to sell this bump and get a 3rd round pick back?
To me, he
for it?
hasn't even bumped. He was worthless, and I don't even think he has a trade market. Like, if someone sends me a second for Claypool, I'm hitting accept on it.
It's not a second. You taking a 3rd?
No, I would just wait.
Because you couldn't have gotten that. Because you couldn't have gotten that last week. Is kind of my point.
Okay,
right?
So I guess he ticked up a little bit, but I wouldn't sell for that either. So
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of intrigued. All right, New York side, you start the starting running back, whether that's Saquon or Breda. You start Darren Waller probably because you have to, and that's really pretty close to where you're happy, at least, about it. Let's talk about the wide receivers. Who do you feel anything about, or where are you
I don't
at?
think any of them are playable right now. The Giants' offensive line is so terrible, and it's just weighing this whole team down. I hope Saquon plays, and I hope this thing gets back to some normalcy here. But it's I don't know. This could be like it was against Denver, where Miami just abuses this team at every single element of football for 60 minutes, and I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, but, like, it ended up being an okay day for fantasy day for Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, and that may have been the 2 of them. But, like, it didn't end up killing the Broncos. I think Jerry Jeudy was okay. Like,
they score points.
Right. I mean, obviously it was embarrassing, but, like, yeah. So I think Wan'Dale Robinson's pretty playable here, right?
Yeah,
So
I agree.
his first week off the ACL, he came back 22% of snaps, but he got 5 targets and 4 catches. Then last week he was up from 22% of snaps to 64% of snaps, which was second on the team among wide receivers. He had 6 targets and 5 catches with 1 carry. So he's got 11 targets and 9 catches in 2 weeks, ramping up. I think I expect the trend of snaps to go upward. I think this guy's going to be a volume play in your PPR leagues. Pretty soon, he's going to be a guy you don't want out of your lineups. That's my take on him.
I'm not as bullish because I'm just down on the Giants as a whole. But Wandale is the receiver here to own. You can start him this week as wide receiver 3. Um, he's an interesting stash moving forward in Dynasty. I'm on board with him. I'm just concerned about the outlook for all these players.
All right, yeah. How do you feel about Daniel Jones?
He's a low end QB2. I mean, I like him more than the Ritters and the Youngs, and I would play him, but
You would play him
tough.
over flexes.
Yeah, I would play him. I would play Daniel Jones in my Superflex if he's my second quarterback. But like, there's some upside here. There is. I mean, you could get a boat race situation. He's got the legs. They're gonna be in catch up mode the whole time. So like, there's some upside with Jones, and that's why I would play him. But I'm not shooting like I'm not holding my breath for it.
Absolutely. Okay, 40-point over under in New England with the Saints coming to town to play the Patriots. How are we feeling
Terrible.
about this?
Terrible over
Everything.
under. New Orleans and New England. This is like I'd probably take the under on this 40 with these two defenses.
I
This
think I'm with you.
Yeah, this is rough. New England side of this, there's not a must start on the New England Patriots offense.
Nope.
I think Ramondre Stevenson is the closest we're gonna get. I see him as a low end RB2 this week.
Yep.
Even in your start tens, you may be able to bench him. I don't know. I'd probably play him in start 10, but like this is a rough matchup for him. He's hurt. His utilization's down. His productivity on the work he's getting is down. Um, yeah, if he doesn't go, you could play Zeke. It's like the same thing but worse. And if Stevens is playing, don't play Zeke. Um, Patriots pass catchers. Hunter Henry is a decent tight end one option,
Yeah.
like tight end 8, 9, something like that. The Saints are top 10 against the tight end, so heads up on that. Um, Patriots. Mac Jones is startable as a low end QB2. I like Daniel Jones more than Mac. I'm not trying to get Mac into my
Agree.
lineup. Yeah, he's in that Bryce Young, Ritter kind of tier. New Orleans, what you got?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's Kamara, it's Olave, and then you're looking at the other wide receivers. I am pretty low on Carr this week. I think he looked like he wasn't right last week, so I kind of want to see him be right.
Yeah,
I would definitely start Mac Jones or Daniel Jones over him until I see him be healthy. I
yeah,
just he looked like they rushed. This is what I say. He looked like he rushed back because he was scared of Jameis Winston or something like that, or just that they rushed him back, or I
yeah.
don't know. I he looked not right to me last week, um, and I'm concerned. You got to start Kamara. You got to start Olave. Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver fours. It's not a good matchup at all. But like you probably have to start both of these guys in your start tens, or at least uh, if you're not starting Rashid Shaheed in a start 10 or Michael Thomas, it's probably because you have a good team.
Yeah.
Uh, and and you've got some good options on the bench, right? Like I think these are perfectly good starts in those leagues.
Start 10. Last flex option. Do you want Shaheed or Thomas? You could choose which one you want, or Tyler Algier.
Uh,
Full PPR.
Michael Thomas, unless it's a return yards league, and then when I'm playing Rashid Shaheed.
All right, and you'd have Algier third of those options.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's keep it rolling here. What else we got?
Okay. I just want to
Yeah, go ahead.
make a note here.
Yeah,
In your very deep leagues, Juwan Johnson is missing this game.
yeah, that's right.
Uh, make sure Foster Moreau is on a roster because I don't think Juwan Johnson's job is that secure. He got a 2-year contract, but it was like one of those real flimsy contracts in some ways.
Hmm.
And I think Foster Moreau is a good player. And Foster Moreau played with Derek Carr in New Orleans, right? So like I'm real interested in um, having him rostered in case there's 7 targets and 6 catches.
No, there's a ton of upside too. I mean, if
Right.
if he were to take this role, you could just
Exactly.
yeah, very 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 puny chance, but the Saints could produce like a tight end 5 or 6 overall. I mean, it could happen if someone could just
Yes.
ascend to that, and it could be Foster Moreau. So I love the upside. And a guy who's probably on your dynasty waiver wire. Um, yeah,
That's
I
yes,
love
right.
it. I
So
love it.
that's
I
the
love
way I
it.
look at
Yeah.
that.
Kendra
Okay.
Miller's not playable.
No.
Just don't do it to yourself. All right, now we're getting to my favorite terrible matchup this week. This is a great AFC North matchup. Baltimore
It's gonna be a fun game.
at Pittsburgh. It's a 38-point over under. I've never been so excited for a 38-point over under. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers side of this, the home team, there's not a single fantasy must start. There's barely even fantasy relevant players. The running back situation, Najee and Jalen Warren are both RB3s for me. They're outside the top 24. I, you're starting them in your start tens, like we say, but like very low ceiling. Not excited about what this is going to be for them. Um, Kenny Pickett looks like he's going to play. It says good to go 5 hours ago. All right. Terrible matchup. He's looked pretty bad all year.
Kenny Pickett or Daniel Jones?
Jones.
Kenny Pickett or Mac Jones?
Mac Jones.
Okay. Kenny Pickett or Ryan Tannehill against the Colts?
Pickett. I'll take Pickett. No, I don't know.
I'll
I might take Tannehill.
I'll play healthy Tannehill over injured Pickett. Like
I would probably play Tannehill. Yeah.
I think we're real low on. I feel because there's also, in addition to like, where's the ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the chance he plays half a quarter and like tweaks a thing and gets you a 1.5?
And if Trubisky's been getting snaps in practice and they've been prepping him, I mean, they're not going to hesitate to pull the trigger and switch if they have to. So
if they have to, right?
Yeah.
So like, to me, like, there's a lot of risk to starting.
It'll probably be a close football game because over under so low. No one's going to run away.
Baltimore hits people.
Yeah.
It's a dirty division matchup,
Mm-hmm.
right? Anyway, so there's that. George Pickens.
He's a low end wide receiver too. You probably have to start him, and he gets some volume. But like, this is 2 wide receiver start leagues. I'm trying to leave Pickens on my bench if I can.
Yeah.
He's gonna get with Marlon Humphrey on him too. It's gonna stink.
Yeah.
Darnell Washington's gonna start at tight end. I don't think he's fantasy relevant ever.
Nope.
He's a tight end 3. Baltimore side of this thing, Lamar is in. Mark Andrews is in. Zay Flowers is in. Baltimore running backs. What you think?
Man, listen, I am starting some Gus and I am starting some Justice Hill. They are running back 3s. I have them behind. I would probably rank the 4 running backs in this game in a full PPR. Najee, Warren, Gus, Justice.
Mm-hmm.
But like they're all running back 3s, high running back 3s.
All of that is outside the top 25. All 4 of those guys. Yeah. So that's
and in your start 10s, you might have to start these guys.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Especially Gus. I'm actually pretty comfortable with Gus's floor. The thing about Justice Hill is I don't know if he's 100%,
mm-hmm.
and he's not great. So like,
is Melvin Gordon going to be involved at all? Did he get downgraded to like back to practice squad yet? Returns to practice squad 4 days ago. All right. Yep. There you go. Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham Jr. both practiced this week. I wouldn't start either of them. Nope. That seems really sketchy to me. Yeah.
It does. All right. So the Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Arizona Cardinals. It is a 44.5 point over under in one of the most interesting games of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals are a 3.5 point road favorite despite looking like absolute dog crap. And I have the Arizona Cardinals winning this game straight up.
Love it.
So for Arizona, man, Josh Dobbs is like a mid quarterback 2.
Where did this guy
you're
come from?
real happy to have on your team.
Yeah.
You're playing James Conner. You're playing Hollywood Brown. You're comfortably playing Zach Ertz, by the way, in your redraft 1 tight end leagues. Take a look for Zach Ertz. Because he had the injury, he might have gotten back out there on your waiver wire. If you're like the Freiermuth manager, have a look for Zach Ertz. So I think those are the key guys. And then we've got Michael Wilson, who had the big week last week. You might have to play him. You
Yeah, I
might have.
am playing him in a couple spots. He's a wide receiver 3 or 4. Really interesting rook. A lot of upside. He got seven of 7 last week for a bunch of yards. I'm interested in Michael Wilson.
Yeah, me too. The um, day two wide receivers have been really interesting.
Yeah, yep. This whole
Like,
class has been like it was such hype, and then it fell off really hard. That's when the NFL draft kind of blew, and then now it seems like we actually have seen a lot of production out of a lot of these rookies, like more so than a typical year, I think.
yeah, I mean the quarterbacks and these wide receivers have been excellent.
Yeah,
Like Tank Dell and I remember a lot of spots where in the late third I'm like, do I want Tank Dell or do I want Michael Wilson or who I just missed on Luke Musgrave, and it's like, those all sound like winners right now.
yeah, man. Puka. I mean, obviously, and yeah, guys like Rasheed Rice and Jaden Reed who have popped a little bit too. There's some interesting receivers coming out.
Yeah.
The
So on
Bengals
the
side of
Bengals side,
this, yeah, you start Joe Burrow as a top 10 option, and you just close
I
your
do
eyes and
not.
you just put him in there. No, you're not
No,
doing that.
no,
Okay, I feel like you
I
have
am
to.
done.
I
I don't.
you can't.
No, he can't throw down the field, man. He's too
Okay,
hurt.
all
He's too
right.
hurt. So I have one Burrow share, and I am benching it for Stafford and Russ, not just this week, but like
Moving forward,
until I see
yeah.
it. Until I see it. And Stafford and Russ have both been top 10 options.
Hmm.
And I'm not playing around with Joe Burrow with that stuff, right? So now look, like if you're in trouble, that's different, right? But if you had like Joe Burrow, um I don't know, you had Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, and your quarterback 3 was Jordan Love. You're benching Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think you should look at that.
In single QB, he's definitely not a play. Okay, so I guess not a top 10 option, but like you I don't know. In Superflex, it's hard to sit him. I mean, you have some lineups where he may be sittable, but like it's just like these other guys. It's really challenging to have a roster where you sit Joe Burrow. I mean, I am scared for him, and I traded him away in a league this week. I moved off of Burrow for Richardson and a first round pick, but
That's really interesting because I'm not scared for his long-term outlook in any way.
no, I just want
Are,
points this year. I mean,
okay.
it's a dynasty
Oh,
league, but
just
like,
this.
but it seems safe because
Gotcha.
I like Richardson long term anyways.
I,
So
I I don't mind that at all.
yeah,
If you need points this year, and you want to trade away Burrow for something like that, plus plus plus, I think that's fine. I'm very scared for Joe Burrow this year. He's not well. It looks like they need to shut him down for a month, but they can't.
they should. They just should. I mean, it sucks.
But the problem is if you shut him down for a month, you have to assume you're shutting him down. You're shutting down the team for the year.
I'm okay with wanting to need to keep rolling him out there too, like in fantasy anyway. Because I mean, it's hard to like one more bad week, and I just wouldn't start him ever, like under any circumstances for the most part. But like, he's the body of work you kind of have to kind of chase after it a little bit, and most people only have 2 QBs. Like I'm not sitting Joe Burrow for a flex option for them. Like he's not in that
No,
Ritter area for
but
me.
like, what if
Yeah,
what if Daniel Jones was your third?
I'd probably pick Burrow. I mean, I would because he's Joe Burrow, and I don't know. Maybe next week it's a different
Okay.
mindset, but there's still some glimmer there for Burrow for me anyway. But it does suck right now.
What if Brock Purdy had been your 3?
Yeah, I would play Purdy over Burrow,
Okay. What
even,
if
even against
all
the
right?
Cowboys.
What if you had come into the season with Burrow, Dak, and Jordan Love, who's sitting?
Yeah, I mean it's a decision between Dak and Burrow, right? It's
Right.
hard
So
hard to decide that.
I think there are a decent number of teams that might be able to sit Joe Burrow,
Yeah,
and I would try to if you can in any way. I think
sure.
I think that the floor is so low right now.
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's fair too. Yeah. Um, yeah, T. Higgins did not practice much this week. I think he was limited on Thursday, limited on Friday. He broke his ribs. I don't think he's going to play. I would anticipate Higgins to sit. I think Boyd is a startable wide receiver 3 if Higgins misses.
Yeah, I think it's more of a 4, but it's still startable.
Sure,
But I think that comes down to our difference on Burrow.
sure. Um, Irv, coming off of Irv Smith, tight end for the Bengals. He's their starting tight end. He came back off the not off the IR, but just came back from his injury. He's a low end tight end too, and just like the rest of these pass catchers, will go as Burrow does.
Oh, yeah. If yes, it's just been so bad all year.
Yep.
All right. So next game, Eagles at Rams. Over under is 50.5 points.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's the smorgasbord. Um, we starting on the Rams side. We're starting Safford. We're starting Kyron. We're starting Puka. How do you feel about Cooper Cup first game back? You just got to run him out there in these start tens for
Play him.
sure, no
I'm
matter
playing him.
what.
I'm playing him and Puka both everywhere. I have both of them.
Okay, you play. And how do you feel about Tyler Higbee?
He's been a volume play must start at tight end. He's getting like 7 targets a game or something. There, he's getting a bunch of targets. Yeah,
All right,
three
so
seven 5'11".
asking for a friend, you like Tyler Higbee or Chigakonkwo?
Higby by a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Higby has some. There's Higby's like a tier above a streamer. He's like the bottom tight end of all the should be started main tight ends. He's the last
Okay.
one, I think. Yeah.
All right. With Cooper Cup back, where do you stand on Tutu Atwell?
Yeah, I'm benching him, but I just because I probably have enough depth where I can. I don't feel like I have to chase the points that he was putting up anymore. Um,
I don't know, man. I think in Bipocalypse, he's probably still to me is a wide receiver 4.
yeah, he's a
Um,
wide receiver 4. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
and I think Cooper Cup probably. I expect Cooper Cup to be on a 1 week pitch count at least.
Mhm.
And the Rams do lead the league in playing 11 personnel. I kind of think you can get one more out of Tutu pretty comfortably as a high wide receiver 4.
You might be able to. It's risky. Yeah, he's a high risk, high reward wide receiver 4, right? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's the downfield threat for a team in the highest over under of the week too.
And I guess
So,
a team that's vulnerable to that kind of stuff too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And at home.
So we've got on the Eagles side, you're starting Hurts, you're starting Swift, Brown, Smith, Goddard. You're starting those even in shallower leagues for the most part.
Yeah.
And then in deeper leagues, you're really not adding much to it.
No, I don't. You can't play any of the Eagles' backup running backs. You keep starting Dallas Goddard. That's it, baby. Simple enough. New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. What are we doing with Denver?
Man, yeah, I think you can play Russ with some comfort right now.
Yep.
I think he's been very good.
Yeah.
Like I still think he's going to lose a job to a rookie next
Right.
year,
Yeah.
but he has been like better. Javonte Williams limited in practice all week. The running back situation is kind of a mess. P. Ryan played more snaps than McLaughlin last week, but McLaughlin had the most relevant fantasy touches. I am playing some Jaleel McLaughlin. I think you kind of he's a dart with like he's an upside play. Like if you're looking at guys like Latavius Murray and then Jaleel McLaughlin, it's sort of two
Jaleel.
different
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of plays,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's a no floor, crazy high ceiling.
Yeah,
I guess some floor, like 2 touches floor or something. But yeah.
and I think Cortland Sutton has been just super reliable, except for the fumble issues. He's the guy that Russ seems to want to go to. Jerry Jeudy, tough to bench in a start 10, but you don't feel good about anything you're
I
seeing.
haven't benched in like several start 10s and 9s. Judy's rough to play right now.
Less hard to be benching a 9.
Yeah. Sure.
Benchable and easily benchable in a 10-team league, right? But like in these 12-team start 10s, a lot of times that last play is gross, and you'll probably start Jeudy over gross, but like you don't like it at all.
Yeah, I just chase targets in those situations, and Judy's like just the targets aren't there. I mean, you see, he's played 3 games, he's got 17 targets. It's not enough. Sorry, it's just like I like Gabe Davis more than Judy. I mean, that's an easy one, but like I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sitting Judy if I can, and that's gonna be that way until Russ gets him involved, until I miss on him or something. I don't know. The schedule looks rough moving forward. There's a Green Bay game that I like, but the rest of the schedule kind of blows for the next like 5 weeks. Yeah. Jet side of this thing, we have the stoppable force and the movable object here with Zach Wilson and the Jets offense against Denver and their defense. I think Zach Wilson is a must start in Superflex though. I have him around quarterback 20. I like Breece Hall a lot this week, and Garrett Wilson's still a must start wide receiver 2 type player. Denver's defense is bottom 5 against the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, and the tight end, each separately. So they're just exploitable all across the field,
Yep.
and I want to chase that.
Yep.
Dalvin is playable low end RB2. Alan Lazard is a playable wide receiver as a wide receiver 4 or 5.
I agree
Tyler
with all that.
Conklin is a playable tight end as a tight end 2.
I think he's a tight end 1 this week.
You think so?
This is. I think that Denver is so bad against tight ends that I'm real interested in. Let me put it this way: if you are on Bipocalypse in your redraft league and you're looking at the absolute trash on the waiver wire, this is your dart throw.
Mm-hmm.
I feel real good playing tight ends against Denver right now. So that's where I'm at. And then I just want to notice this here. Last week, CJ Uzama caught a 1-yard touchdown pass, but actually Jeremy Ruckert passed him in snaps and targets. This is a second-year tight end with day 2 draft capital. And gosh, guys, every April we're like, remember the tight ends don't produce as rookies, right? Remember to follow the draft capital, right? Don't be too impatient with these guys.
Yeah, circle
right?
back,
So, okay, in week 4 of his second year, we saw this player move up the depth chart. Let's notice that and add him in our tight end forward formats, right? Notice that this guy, this is a guy who's available in your very deep dynasties.
Yeah.
He's on the waiver wire, even in strong tight end
16 bench leagues, you still have him on the waiver wire.
Strong tight end premiums, he's still out there.
Yep.
And they're gonna try to get him into the tight end 1 position next year, right? And if they can get him more involved this season, his value is going to go to trade value. You know what I mean? So this is a guy I'm adding right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like that a lot. This is he could be Jake Ferguson next year, or maybe in the second half of this season.
That's where I'm thinking. Yes.
No, I like that a lot. You should stash Ruckert. He's certainly should be rostered in your 2 tight end leagues. Anything where you have 14, 15, 16 bench. Some of these leagues have insane numbers of bench like that. Put Ruckert down there. He may be available in your league.
And the nice thing is that the Uzama touchdown kind of hides that he moved up the depth chart. Go for it.
Yeah, I know. When we were putting this thing together, I was thinking Denver's defense might rebound a little bit against a bad Zach Wilson, but since we've been going over it, I've been changing my mind. I don't know. This will be interesting to see. This game could go either way for sure.
Man, are they going to salvage Justin Fields and Zach Wilson in back-to-back weeks?
Be interesting, yeah.
It'll be fun.
It's just Denver's been getting dunked on in the media so much. Their defense has that I'm thinking those men, those 25 or however many men work into an NFL defense are sick of hearing about that, but I don't know. Who knows? Kansas City Chiefs at the Minnesota Vikings. This game's going to be dope. 53-point over-under. Highest on the week. We love it. Get some Chiefs and Vikings out there. Minnesota started this thing. Pretty easy. Kirk Cousins, Alexander Mattison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson. They're all must-starts for me this week. Chiefs defense is top 5 against the running back and top 7 against the wide receiver, so it's not actually a very good matchup, but the over-under is going to want you to lean into these players. Alexander Mattison is seeing 20 points per game. I'm sorry, 20 opportunities per game, and he's got about 4.5 yards per carry on the season. I think he's a must-start still. That could change as early as next week, maybe. Could change by the end of this week. But I think right now, while Akers has yet to take a major role, you have to keep chasing the volume with Madison. He's an RB2, a boring RB2. Yeah.
Interesting. I really expect Cam Akers to win that job. Madison, he has come up with some yards per carry on a big play here or there, but some of them have been garbage time big plays that save his week after being bad all week. And the volume was sort of there, but the first week with Akers there, he went down from an 80% snap count to a 69% snap count. Akers in his first game action had 29% of the snaps, 5 carries for 40 yards and 2 targets, and out targeted Madison already. I just think Akers is a better player. Akers is going to win that job. I don't know.
No, he
I,
could. It's just here's the thing. All right, so if you sit Madison and he's like a clear lead again and has a decent game,
yeah, you got to play him, I
well,
guess.
you can't like then the following week. I don't. You're not going to want to pivot back and start playing him again. This is my thought exercise I went through, right? So if I sit him, but he's great, not great, but if he's serviceable and I sit him, it's hard to pivot back and start playing him again. But if I play him, he loses the job. I will confidently bench him moving forward. So it's kind of just a stay in the flames thing. Let him burn me if he's gonna. But I don't have that many Madison shares, and I'm not some truther for him. But just on a
Yeah,
principles of fantasy football, I think you have to keep playing him because of
I
the
think you're
volume.
probably right.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
Um,
Um,
Jordan Addison, what are we doing with them?
I'm playing all the way playing. I don't. I
Okay.
don't care. I like. We've seen this before. We saw Devonta Smith take a goose the first week of last year. We
Mm.
like. I just this happens.
Especially with a rookie, it'll
I'm
it'll
just
happen
playing
every
him.
once in a
I'm
while.
just playing. The one thing that is happening is when they're having trouble pass blocking, they're getting into more 12 personnel, and he's not on the field in 12 personnel yet. So
Mm-hmm.
that is the risk. But
Yeah.
in these deeper formats, I just think you're playing him.
Yeah, it's Osborne's been eating too many snaps. We need to let Addison be free. It's
We really do.
I think he's a high risk, high reward wide receiver 3 for me. I don't think he's a must start, but he's more out there than not. Uh, Kansas City side of this, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, you're starting those two guys. We know them, right?
For sure.
And Isaiah Pacheco has evolved into a must-start role. You're talking about the RB13 on the year in PPR formats. Isaiah Pacheco, he's taken a big, big step forward over the last 2 weeks. He's had
Looks
what?
great.
He looks tremendous. He's just, you see him doing push-ups out there after the one carry the other night. Yeah,
Yep.
that was funny. But 15 carries, 3 receptions, 20 carries, 3 receptions. This is beautiful for Pacheco. He's doing that thing where he's performing so well, he's just forcing the other guys out. CEH is like 10% snap share at this point. McKinnon only has 4 touches a game average.
Hmm.
Nothing to find on either of those two guys. It's all Pacheco right now, and you want to keep riding that wave. Uh,
Yeah, I will say they
yep.
do love putting McKinnon in near the goal line if you're in one of these zero RB builds that hasn't fallen together yet.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, he gave you the boom week 2 weeks ago, and like that's always on the table,
Mhm.
right? Like, he's kind of like the Donald Parham play here if you got it. So what do we think about this Chiefs wide receiver room?
All right, guys, brace yourselves. I'm going to throw some numbers at you, so just get your heads ready. So these are the 5 wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs so far through 4 weeks. The worst performing one is MVS. He's got 6 catches for 54 yards and no TDs. Sucks. The second worst performing among them is Kadarius Toney. He's got nine catches for 57 yards. Terrible. Again, no scores. The third one out of this group is actually it's uh, Justin Watson. He's got 8 catches for 163 yards. He's a down the field target. All those guys are completely useless for fantasy football. Sky Moore, 7 catches for 112 yards. Every single one of these guys is single digits. Sky Moore has a touchdown. And then Reshi Rice has 19 targets, leader of the group. 13 catches, leader of the group, and 150 yards, second of the group, and he's got a score. The only one of 2 people with a score. Rasheed Rice is, I guess, on paper, if you deep dive the stats, the wide receiver 1 on this team, kind of.
He's not playing those snaps though.
No, I mean, but like if you deep dive the next gen stats of it, like the targets per route run, the target share, it's I am heavily exposed to Rasheed Rice. I have 9 shares of him across 22 dynasty leagues. I'm not as bullish on him as some of the other people might be out there. I don't think he's really evolving into this role necessarily, but he could. I don't know. I'm not really giving you any actionable information here other than to say this wide receiver room sucks. It's a crazy anomaly, and I don't know what to do with it at all.
So I think you can start Rice and Moore this week.
I think Rice is
Um,
a low end wide receiver 3. I don't know. I guess the matchup makes him higher,
that's my
but
feeling. It's like it's a huge over under.
yeah.
You can throw darts at those two guys. Um, I I think you I think I'm okay. I'm perfectly comfortable starting Rushy Rice, but like it is still very muddled. It is still very muddled. Um, I want to throw something else out here. Here's Justin Watson's snap percentage by week.
Hmm.
Week 1, 29. Week 2, 46. Week 3, 40. And week 4, 61% led all wide receivers. Now, it didn't turn into much, right? But the guy who led all Chiefs wide receivers in snaps last week is on your waiver wire in very deep dynasty leagues,
He is.
right? So, like, if he's there for free and you have a piece of trash in the last spot on your roster, you should go roster this guy. Like, I don't know how this is going to evolve, but Justin Watson is the wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs this year, and he's a wide receiver 3 rest of season, is a low probability inside the range of outcomes thing that could happen. So go roster this guy. I don't play him this week. Go roster him this week, just in case this is the week that he is the featured guy. Because that was very surprising to me, seeing him lead Chiefs wide receivers in snaps last week.
Yeah, and Sky Moore, he took a big dip in snaps, didn't he, too? I
Yep.
mean, he dropped down to 59. This is so rough. I think you can confidently rule out MVS and Kadarius Toney as being relevant, but Toney also has 13 targets. So it's just, I don't know. I'm trying to avoid all these guys if I can. Is the only point I'm trying to make. I would start Rice in like 1 or 2 of my shares. That's about it.
Very good. Let's see. What else do we have here? I mean, I think that Mahomes is going to have a great day, and so somebody's going to have a good day behind them. And the last thing I just want to say, if you are in a start 2 tight end league, I think you can play Noah Gray as a low end tight end too, even when Travis Kelce is playing. I mean, the production hasn't been like stellar, but he's on the field a lot and he's getting multiple targets in each game, and they're down the seam targets.
He's got better stats on the season than like 3 of those receivers we were just talking about.
Right.
Does,
so
yeah.
like, I'm. He's in contention for being the number 2 target there, honestly.
He really is.
In this garbage mess, right? So, like, just speaking for myself, right? Like, I have some 2 tight end leagues where I have Kelce and I have Noah Gray as like my tight end 4, like as a handcuff, and I'm actually considering playing him over some guys who are playing like garbage right now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I feel
like, or like you got Irv Smith,
Hurst or someone.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you just throw Noah Gray out there in what looks like a smorgasbord.
Mahomes is surrounded. You know, he gets touchdowns. Touchdowns happen from Mahomes, so you want to chase those, but it's just been so goofy. Moving on, the Cowboys and the Niners, 45-point over/under. Dallas visiting San Francisco. Love this classic NFC matchup here. San Francisco side of this, you're starting Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey in your lineup every single time. Brandon Ayuk, love him, must start. George Kittle, I think, is a must start at tight end. And the conversation begins with Deebo Samuel. He's been limited in practice all week. He was a full participant on Friday. He played 85% of the snaps last week and only had like 1 fantasy point. Deebo's in that wide receiver 4 territory for me, where I'm trying to get him out of my lineup. I'm scared to play him even if he is active.
Yeah, I know you're playing him as your wide receiver 2 in the league of records, and that's a start 3 wide receiver league. Like,
it's him or Tutu, and I'm thinking about playing Tutu.
But no, I believe you're playing both of them.
I think I am playing both of them. Yeah,
because it's a 3 wide receiver league. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like you.
I have an option. No, I got Tutu. Yeah, I could.
It's hard to have options that are better than Deebo Samuel, who can like break a week on a single play. So I think in your start 9 and biggers, it's hard to get away from Deebo. But I get the fears. I really do. Eli Mitchell out again. It looks like Jordan Mason has supplanted Tyrion Davis-Price as the 3rd guy, so he's now in the 2. He's not startable, but you do want to roster CMC's direct backup for as long as that stays. On the Dallas side, you're starting Dak, you're starting Pollard, you're starting Lamb, you're starting Ferguson. Almost everywhere you're starting Ferguson. Dak is a QB2 only. Jake Ferguson, you probably have to play in most formats.
He's above Higbee for me. He's in that must-start area. Like top 10 tight ends. Yeah,
I agree. And what do you think about the second tier Dallas?
Gallup has 13 targets over the last 2 weeks, 6 and then 7. I guess he's a wide receiver 4. He's a dart throw for me. I would play Rashee Rice over Gallup.
Yes.
Brandon Cooks is not playable at all right now.
Yep.
Uh, yeah,
I agree
that's
with
that
that.
matchup. Pretty simple, but I'm excited to watch that game. Packers at Raiders Monday Night Football coming at you with a 44.5 point over under. Jordan Love and the boys go into Vegas. Jimmy G's coming out of concussion protocol. I think he is a starter in Superflex formats. He's around quarterback 20 for me. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Josh Jacobs. That's it for the Raiders. Don't even think about playing anyone else.
Nope.
Green Bay's
Can't
middle.
play Renfro. Can't play tight ends.
No, there's literally no games. You cannot play anyone else on this roster. Those are the only three guys that get the ball. It's Myers, Adams, and Jacobs.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Jacobs leads all NFL running backs in targets.
hmm
So like this is incredibly concentrated even in the passing game between those three guys.
Yeah. Green Bay side of this thing, I mean, Jordan Love is a must start right now in Superflex, easy. He's probably a must start in single QB too, I think, especially in this matchup. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a good matchup.
I think Romeo Dubs is a must start for me at least this week.
I agree. Despite what I said last week at the top of the show, Romeo Dubs is a must start this week for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Watson deal with a hamstring injury. Just the productivity trend, 25 targets over the last 2 weeks. We love that in a very winnable matchup for Green Bay. Aaron Jones, limited in practice. If he's active, I'm absolutely playing him.
Yep.
If he's active, Dylan cannot be played. I don't think. I mean, I guess he can. There's a game script where Las Vegas loses and Dylan gets the ball a bunch late. I don't even want to chase that though.
Yeah.
If Aaron Jones is out, AJ Dillon is still not a very attractive play. Low end RB2 if Dillon is the starter. Yeah, sucks with AJ Dillon right now.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Christian Watson limited with the hamstring. I think he's going to play. I'm not excited to start him. I'm keeping him on the bench. Yeah, that's like start 10. You might have to roll him out there, but I would play Dubs as the number one receiver here.
I would play Dubs too until we see that
Yeah.
Watson is healthy. Like this to me is the thing is like I'm also like not close between these two in dynasty value.
Sure.
I'm like to me Christian Watson, like I'm not considering benching Christian Watson. He played half the snaps last week. He, they designed to play for him at the goal line. Yeah. That's like they want to get this man involved.
Sure.
He is gonna be the straw that stirs the drink in this offense. To me, I'm playing Christian Watson if he's playing, which it looks like he is. That's how I feel about him.
Maybe you be too hard on him. I have so much Watson. I loved him last year. I mean, I loved him, and I have a lot of him. I want him. I just don't even want to mess with it until he's like this healthy Christian. Go be healthy and awesome, and then I want to play him. I don't know. I'm just waiting for that.
I get you, Jaden Reed. You can play him. He's a wide receiver 4. I'm trying not to play him, but I have some spots where I am playing him. Luke Musgrave appears to be back from concussion protocol. He's like right after the Tyler Higbees.
Yeah, he's like the first guy I'd pick up off the waiver wire because he's probably there, like in redraft waiver wires. I like Musgrave a lot as a streaming option.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. Very good. All right. So that's our weekly matchups. I think we really chopped this one up well.
We nailed it. Still took too long. We're gonna try to get the time down shorter. We gotta go quicker in the beginning. But
absolutely, guys.
Yeah, thanks for staying with us. Those are your matchups. Hit me up in the DMs. Message me if you got any questions about any start sits. Like, comment, subscribe. Where you at with some of this stuff? Where you at with Christian Watson and where you at with George Pickens and with Daniel Jones? I'm curious to know what the community thinks here. I think we want to do a trade featurette show coming up soon too. So if you got any trades you want to talk about, hit me up in the DMs with those. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much, friends. Yep. Have a good night. Enjoy your Sunday.